For centuries, Oak Island has guarded its secrets with a labyrinth of confounding clues and dead ends. At the heart of this enduring mystery lies a single infuriating artifact. For years, this was the clue that broke every theory. It was a piece of the puzzle that simply refused to fit, no matter how it was turned, interpreted, or analyzed. It cluttered timelines, introducing anachronisms that made no sense. It contradicted maps, pointing in directions that led to nothing but bedrock and salt water. And in its stubborn silence, it made generations of clever people look foolish. This stone, with its cryptic inscription, was discovered early in the island's saga, promising a breakthrough. Yet, it delivered only confusion. The symbols resembled no known language or cipher. Some saw hints of Masonic code, others, a forgotten Viking rune set. Each new interpretation was a flash of hope, quickly extinguished by the lack of corroborating evidence. The stone became a pariah of the Oak Island narrative. So it was labelled an outlier, a mistake, a myth, perhaps a prank left by an early settler, or worse, a deliberate piece of misdirection. It was shoved to the margins of the Oak Island story, a footnote in a tale already crowded with red herrings. But it wasn't wrong. We were. We were looking at it with the wrong eyes, with tools unequal to its sophistication. We assumed its creator thought as we did, used the same conventions we did. That was our fundamental error. A new season brought new tools, and with them, a new perspective. We decided to treat the stone not as a text to be translated, but as a piece of data to be processed. The first step was to digitize it with unprecedented accuracy. We employed high-resolution scans using structured light 3D scanning to capture every microscopic groove, every weathered pit, every tool mark, down to the micron level. This created a perfect digital twin of the artifact, free from the distortions of shadow and light. Then, we unleashed a new kind of intelligence upon it, AI-assisted pattern matching. We tasked a neural network with analyzing the geometry of the symbols, not for their meaning, but for their form, looking for hidden repetitions, symmetries, and relationships that the human eye had missed for over 200 years. Finally, this data was integrated into precise geospatial modeling, allowing us to place the stone's information into a real-world, three-dimensional map of Oak Island itself. Running the impossible inscription through this forensic pipeline revealed something extraordinary. The AI flagged a subtle distortion, a consistent, repeatable, and deliberate skew in the way certain symbols were carved. It wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern, a flaw that was too regular to be a flaw. It was a feature, hidden in plain sight for centuries old. This wasn't pareidolia, our tendency to see patterns in random noise. The statistical significance was off the charts. This was intentional. The symbols weren't nonsense. They were data. The key to unlocking this data lay in a concept familiar to any ancient mariner or surveyor: magnetic declination. The Earth's magnetic North Pole, the one a compass needle points to, is not the same as its geographic North Pole, or true north. The angle between them is the declination. And crucially, this angle is not constant. The magnetic pole wanders, meaning the declination at any given spot on Earth changes slowly but predictably over the centuries. An old map, if used today, won't point to the right place unless you correct for this change. The creators of this puzzle knew this. They were using an advanced surveying convention that compensates for magnetic declination over time. The stone wasn't a map in itself, it was the key to reading all the other maps correctly. In plain English, the map wasn't pointing where we thought. It was correcting our compass. The consistent flaw the AI found was the exact angular correction required to adjust a 17th century bearing to a modern one. It was a time lock, ensuring the instructions would only become clear in a future epoch to someone who understood the science. Here's the kicker. The inscription also contained a simple cipher instruction, one that had been dismissed as a decorative flourish, a mirroring symbol. When I apply that historical correction, adjusting for centuries of magnetic drift, and then mirror the resulting sequence as the cipher demands, the baffling marks resolve into a clean, unambiguous instruction. What emerges is not a poem or a riddle, but the cold, hard language of a surveyor, an azimuth, a precise bearing from a fixed point, a distance measured in a unit consistent with the era, and a depth, the final z-coordinate in a three-dimensional treasure map. The puzzle stone? It's a surveying correction. Think a Templar-style directional marker, a master key built to be unreadable until someone had both the right epoch and the right math. It was designed to defeat brute force, to wait patiently until technology and understanding caught up to its creator's foresight. And here is where the entire history of the island pivots. Overlay the decoded line on a modern grid, and it doesn't just nudge us toward the money pit, it intersects the original location with pinpoint accuracy. But it does more. The secondary vectors encoded in the stone, once decoded, align perfectly with the known flood tunnel vectors originating from Smith's Cove. These tunnels, long thought to be simple booby traps, are now revealed as integral components of a larger engineered system, their paths predicted by the stone itself. Now watch what happens when every other odd clue snaps to the same frame. The shafts, the water ingress, the off-angle trenches that never made sense, each falls neatly along the corrected bearings. The chaos dissolves, the island stops arguing with itself. For the first time, maps from different centuries agree. Depths recorded by searchers decades apart suddenly reconcile. Nolan's Cross, once an enigma, becomes a massive surveying baseline. The chaos was a symptom of our own misunderstanding. We were trying to solve a dozen different puzzles, when in reality, we were looking at a single unified system. With the most puzzling clue finally decoded, the entire picture clicks into place. The decades of confusion weren't protecting a secret, they were protecting a system. A complex, time-delayed feat of engineering. And now that system reads like a manual. The path is clear. The target is defined. This changes the entire operation. We are no longer searching, we are following directions. The first step is to establish a new datum on the island, a fixed point based on the corrected coordinates. From there, we lay out the azimuth on the ground, a physical line pointing the way. We measure the distance. We confirm the target. And then we begin a careful, strategic excavation to the prescribed depth, monitoring the known flood tunnels not as a threat, but as a predictable part of the system. For the first time, Oak Island isn't a maze. It's a set of instructions, finally understood. And that changes everything. Please subscribe to our channel History Documentary Hub for more insightful videos and intriguing content.